Welcome. Welcome to the second episode of Radical Reports. I'm Annette Diaz.
And I'm Sydney Stanford.
And we're Radical Reporters.
On this episode, Annette takes a look at accessibility in downtown Lafayette.
Sydney Stanford will show us around Lafayette's public library's makerspace.
Amara Butler attended a talk given by author Attica Locke at the Gain Center in the UL Library and shared an excerpt with us.
Up first, AOC films Festival International every year. Jackson Snyder, one of our reporters, volunteered for the film crew this year to get a look at what goes into filming such a large event. Here's his report.
April is quite a month for the city of Lafayette, Louisiana. Every year, we have a music festival called Festival International. This event brings acts from not only all across the country, but the world. Since AOC Films Festival every year, I decided to join the crew for 2016. But before signing up, I wanted to ask Miss Nancy Giudice, AOC's marketing director and festival coordinator, a couple of things about volunteering.
As marketing director of AOC Community Media, it's my job to gather volunteers, schedule volunteers, make sure that the volunteers are properly trained by our staff, have adequate practice time, and then basically just manage the ebb and flow at festival to make sure that we are fully covered to shoot the main stage festival performances.
Cool.
This is my 6th festival, so I started in 2011. AOC's been with festival doing this exact thing since its inception. So we're not new to this game, but every year it's something different, something the same, but like I said, we grow bigger and bigger every year with our volunteers and their capabilities. I think as festival gets more and more mature, the excitement of festival grows. So you find that more people in this area are signing up to be AOC members just to volunteer for festival initially. And then that sparks their interest in what else they can do at AOC. And to me, that's an exciting way to get new people at AOC, because you might get new people that never would have even heard of AOC had we not attached to festival. You also end up with people who come back every year just for festival, that sort of thing. So it's a fun dynamic of people that are around, but ultimately we just want to deliver this cultural, historical content to our community, and we do so through the use of volunteers, because that just fits along with our mission to build an informed and engaged community.
That's great. I did 3 shifts over festival weekend, but I will show you my 2 favorites here. This band had to be my favorite shift. They are Les Hostesses de Hilaire, and they're a rock band from Quebec. I was directing for this shift, which means I got to switch through the cameras and be able to help the camera operators get great shots by speaking to them through a headset. It's really a job that requires 100% concentration, otherwise you may hit a wrong button or forget which number goes to which camera. This was definitely my favorite shift because I got to really put in artistic input, and I thought mixing the cameras was fun and challenging. Next favorite shift would have to be a band called Taras Bulba. They are a very large band, 25 people from all over Europe. I was operating the second house camera. It is a really large camera, and it is on top of the rafters in the house, so it could be pretty wobbly at times. This shift was by far the hardest shift for me. Not only did I have to operate a really challenging camera for a beginner, but I also had to hold on to the camera constantly to avoid too much shaky footage. Even though it was very hard, it was very rewarding as well. Afterwards, I felt like I took on a great challenge. I had such a fun time volunteering at Festival this year. I encourage people to go out next year and try it. It really feels as if you're making a contribution to Festival and the community, and you get to work with some really cool people and see some great bands while you're at it.
I'd say the hours are, pretty fun because you end up staying on site typically from Tuesday, Wednesday through Sunday, and you build a home there basically.
Wow.
It's our second home there for that week. So, the importance of having a portable building there for us is pretty big. Cook's Portable Warehouse donated a building to us. So again, we tell them that you're not just a sponsor, but you've created a home for us for a week. I think the most surprising thing about working an event this size and the hours that you end up working is that you end up having a lot of fun, mainly because it is festival, but also because the work that you're doing there is actually really fun. I mean, you get to go record some of the biggest acts in the country and the world. So the fact that you're there on their stage with them, just capturing what they do, that's pretty big. It's more of like 3 tips. Wear sunscreen, wear comfortable shoes, and drink lots of water.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
For more information on volunteering next year, please visit aocinc.org.
Lafayette is a great place, but sometimes for some people it can present great challenges. In this report, Annette Diaz explores an accessibility problem that few people are aware of.
My name is Annette Diaz. I contacted Liam Doyle to help me with the story. Lafayette is a great place, but it's hard to get around sometimes. Liam's in a wheelchair, which basically means it's difficult for him to get around in the city for a multitude of reasons. I talked to him and asked what it's like, and what he's doing, and what we can do to fix it.
A wheelchair, from a personal standpoint is a challenge every day, but from an accessibility standpoint in a city like Lafayette, it's a lot more difficult to get around, to be able to go places, to do the things you want to do when you want to do them, and there are a lot of challenges associated with that. If there's an obstacle in my way, if I can, I'll go around it. I tend to try to think what the easiest way is, either to get off the sidewalk and just go around it like in the grass, or worst case scenario, I'd be in the street and have to be in the street and navigate different obstacles and then try to get back on the sidewalk if possible.
Parish. I think it's our parish responsibility to do that. So I think no matter where you live, you feel like, well, I'm not, vested in the downtown, so I don't need to talk about that. If you live in District 6, you should be talking to your council member, because it's ultimately going to come down to the council to say we're going to fund this, or we're not going to fund this, or we're behind this. And who knows? We could get the $310,000, or we could get $610,000. It just depends on how much the council members feel like their voters care about this. So if you understand that and care about it, then I would start badgering your council members.
People with disabilities who have trouble getting around Lafayette. People with disabilities who have trouble can do something about it. And we are working towards making it better for people who have trouble, but not just for them. For ordinary people, because if we fix the street in the name of accessibility, we fix the street for everybody. Which basically says if you help someone who has trouble, oddly enough, you'll help other people with the same problem, even if you didn't think of them when you fixed the problem.
Go to LafayetteLA.gov to find your district's council member and let them know you think Lafayette should be accessible to everyone.
Have you visited Makerspace? If not, stay tuned for Sydney's video on it.
What is Makerspace? I'm Sydney Stanford, and today I will find out the answer. I went to the Lafayette Public Library where I was able to interview several people who often go to Makerspace. Here's what they said.
My name is Kara Chance. I am the Makerspace librarian at the Lafayette Public Library downtown.
My name's Melissa Rushing.
All right, my name is William Myers.
What is Makerspace?
The Makerspace at the Lafayette Public Library is a place where people can come in, use our equipment, and collaborate with one another to make really cool things.
How often do you come to Makerspace?
I'm usually here on every week, usually at least on Wednesdays and Thursdays, sometimes Tuesdays. And then I'm here all day.
I try to come once or twice a week.
What do you like to do in here?
I do a lot of 3D modeling in here. It's just a really good place for me to work that's not home. We do 3D modeling. I work on laser cut art and other kinds of art.
A little bit of everything, if I can. I like to try to get work done here more than anything.
What machines are available to use?
We have a Epilogue Zing 24 laser cutter and engraver. We have 2 3D printers, a TAS 5 and an Ultimaker 2. We have Arduino compatible microcontrollers. We have Lego EV3 Mindstorm robots, a sewing machine, a document scanner, a green screen, and a Yeti microphone, as well as laptops loaded with digital media manipulative software and iPads.
What's your favorite thing about Makerspace?
It's a good place to work. It's a good place to find like-minded people who are also working on projects similar. We've made friends who are also into 3D printing, and we've collaborated on stuff with them. So it's good to find people who either can help you or need help on projects, and for people to get together and help each other.
I like that it has open access hours, so you can just come in anytime during their posted hours. And I like the fact that they have a laser cutter. That's fun.
Would you recommend coming here to other people?
Yes, I bring my friends here all the time. And some of them have become regulars now since I invited them.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's a great service that's provided, and anybody who doesn't take advantage of it is missing out.
What can people do in Makerspace?
People can use any of our equipment to make whatever they would like to make. They can build a robot with the Lego Mindstorms. They can make simple circuits that they can program with the Arduinos. They can design and print 3D objects, and they can use the laser cutter for a wide variety of projects. Teenagers like to make pots for their rooms, but we've also had a research scientist come in and make parts for some of the skilled equipment, and people have used some of our equipment to make other equipment like 3D printers.
Are there any classes offered here?
Yes, we do offer classes on how to build and program the Lego Mindstorm robots. We have offered classes on Arduinos, as well as an introduction to designing for the laser cutter.
Do you have any final comments on Makerspace?
It's just a really good place to work and get stuff done, to find other people. There's engineers who come here and they like to collaborate with the artists who come here, and together we get stuff done. We make things. It's a maker space, so most people are here to make or to learn. And a lot of people come here and learn how to do new things. I got to learn how to knit. That was cool. My friend was teaching people how to sew. One guy's making a 3D printer. We're 3D printing stuff, laser cutting stuff. It's just fun stuff. It's something to do. It's productive. I like it.
Well, if it was anything, it's that there's oftentimes a lot of helpful people in here too. So if you ever run into a problem, I remember that somebody was trying to make a little Christmas ornament for their boyfriend, and I explained to them that it would probably be better to get it laser cut, and kind of showed them how to use the program, so that way they could actually get that project done.
So what is Makerspace? It's a place where you can meet new people, use amazing technology, and make some of the coolest things. Thank you for watching, and I hope you visit Makerspace.
Wow, Makerspace seems like a really cool place. I'm definitely going to check it out, and you should too. Thanks for the story, Sydney. What's our final story for this episode?
Amara Butler brings us our last story. The famous author and producer Attica Locke recently came to the Gaines Center in the University of Louisiana at Lafayette Library. She gave a talk on one of her published works titled Pleasantville. Here it is, and we hope you like it.
Attica Locke has won me over as a writer, and if you're here today and you don't know her work, I hope she will win you over by the end of this reading. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Ms. Attica Locke. Sounded really good. Hello. Hi. Thank you guys for coming in the middle of your day. Pleasantville was founded in 1949 by two Jewish developers who got an idea that they were going to create one of the first of its kind in the nation, a planned community for black folks with money, who in 1949 could not buy anywhere else because of deed restrictions. And so all of a sudden, Pleasantville became like a Levittown for moneyed blacks. So one neighborhood had teachers and doctors and, there's always an undertaker in there, business owners and people driving beautiful Cadillacs and living the kind of image we have of the polished, chrome, light-filled 1950s, but all black in this area. And what happened in Pleasantville is that what those Jewish developers could not have known, unless they did, is that if you suddenly drop thousands of moneyed, engaged, and educated black folks in a single voting precinct, you will shift state politics. That when the people of Pleasantville fought to get an elementary school for their kids, they got the school. But in my opinion, they may have gotten something better. They got a voting precinct. It meant that where Pleasantville had been divided over 3 or 4 different precincts, people having to drive out, it was all one. That has been nicknamed over the years the mighty 259, the 259th precinct, because it is the most vote-rich precinct in the state of Texas to this day. That there is a culture of civic engagement in Pleasantville that is unparalleled. And that is why on the night I went there and saw it for the first time, that even as the neighborhood is shifting, economically, racially, it still is a place that you can't win without it. In fact, the epigraph here is from the Houston Chronicle. Any politician worth his salt knows the road to elected office passes through Pleasantville. So I'm going to read a little bit from the beginning. The book takes place in Houston in 1996. The girl, she wasn't invited, but she didn't expect to be. She had played her small part, put in hours on the ground, knocked on some doors, and now what she wanted more than anything was to go home. At the appointed place, the corner of Guinevere and Ledwidge, she waited for her ride. Her blue cotton t-shirt, a thin shell against the damp night air. It was well above 70 degrees when she left home this afternoon. And she'd never meant to be gone this long, but she was due a bonus, a little extra cash in her pocket, if she unloaded all the leaflets she'd been given to distribute. This job meant more to her than it did to the others. She knew that. She was 6 months out of high school with no brighter prospect on her horizon than moving up to the cash register at the Wendy's on OST, where she worked part-time. So she pushed herself harder, made a show of her unmatched fortitude and productivity, pointedly staying past nightfall, a plan she clearly hadn't thought all the way through, as evidenced by her lack of a decent coat or even a cotton sweater. The fact that she was flat broke after spending what little money she had at a payphone on Market Street. She checked the time on her pager, the one Kenny had bought her when he left for college, promising they'd make it work somehow. And he called. She scrolled through the phone number stored in the tiny machine. How long was she going to wait out here? It was already coming on 9 o'clock, and she knew her mother would worry. She could picture her right now smoking a Newport out the kitchen window, still in her pink nurse's scrubs and listening to KTSU, all the blues you can use, glancing every few minutes at the yellow sunflower clock above the stove, wondering why her daughter wasn't home yet. The girl crossed her skinny arms across her chest. This far to the south, the street lamps in Pleasantville gave out, and she was all too aware that she was standing alone on a dim street corner miles from home, with nothing but the low, insistent hum of an idling engine as unwelcome company. He'd been watching her for a few minutes now. The nose of his vehicle was pointed east on Guinevere, the body tucked under the low, hanging branches of a willow tree, so that she could make out no more than a man's rough silhouette behind the windshield. His headlights were dark, which is why she hadn't seen him at first. But he was facing in her direction, his engine running, his features wearing an expression she couldn't read in the dark. She couldn't tell the make or the model of the vehicle, but it was the height and width of a van, a truck of some sort. Run. Just run. It was a whisper inside her own skull. Her mother's voice actually calling her home. But she should wait for her ride, shouldn't she? She felt a stab of uncertainty, a panic so sharp it made her eyes water. Everything hinged on this one choice. I should wait for my way out, she thought, still wanting to believe that a way out was possible, but already knowing with a creeping certainty that this night had turned on her, that her disappearing had already begun. She knew she'd made a mistake, knew it even before she heard the van's door open. Just run.
Now that you know a bit about the book, maybe you'll be interested in reading it yourself. Readings at the Gaines Center happen every month. Check it out. Maybe your favorite author will be coming to town. You can see by going to louisiana.edu and search Gaines Center.
This has been the second episode of Radical Reports. We'd like to thank our very supportive families.
The Radical Reporters are Amara Butler, Annette Diaz, Jackson Schneider, and I'm Sydney Stanford.
Keep an eye on AOC 1 and 2 for replays and new episodes.
Thanks for watching!